Hello, sir. Welcome to ETBFSI.com.
Thank you.
I'll start by asking your experience speaking on the panel. How did you enjoy it?
Oh, it was wonderful being a part of the ET BFSI thing there today. I think it was a wonderful panel, cross section, ranging from insurance companies, both life, general, banking, and also the service providers. So you had a complete 360-degree view of what exactly innovation was meant and what people thought about innovation and how the whole thing works. So I think it was a very interesting discussion. And I really enjoyed being on this panel.
So let me start by asking, how is the company leveraging its digital capabilities to leverage tech, and how is the innovation process going on?
See, in SBI General, we have given a lot of importance for digitization. If you look at it overall, especially post-COVID, a lot of companies have migrated, but we were started doing it even pre-COVID areas. Because one thing we realized that the generation today, and I'm not talking of X, Y, Z and all that, because that really doesn't matter. Anybody who buys a policy for me is the customer for me and is the generation. Anybody looks at ease of doing business. And when I say ease of doing business, how do I buy a particular product or a services with least intervention from my end, and how do I get? And today, so much of data is available in the ecosystem of a particular person that you don't need to ask, you only need to take his approval or his consent to tap into that data. So I'll give you a small example. Way back in SBI Life, when I was handling IT operations in 2018, we came out with a new concept of innovation saying life insurance policies can be issued penless, paperless. It was never thought of. Okay, and we realized that there's so much of data available in the ecosystem, and if you take the consent of the customer and tap that, you don't need the documentary evidence which people ask for. First of all, huge thick application forms, and then you ask for the financial statements and Aadhaar card and PAN cards and all that stuff which is required. And we just cut it off by saying, can we go and integrate with the, say, NSDL for PAN card verification? Can I go and do a integration with CIBIL for his credit score and income approximator, which is a wonderful tool which CIBIL provides to you? Can I go and tie up with IIBI, which is the Insurance Information Bureau of India, who has got a whole lot of repository of the existing policies of the customer, and I import that same thing on a real-time basis with them. And that fills up my entire proposal form. I don't need anything else other than the nomination that has to be filled in by the customer. Now, this made the life so simpler for the customer. What used to take a few days for him to fill up the forms and attach all these documents and submit to the insurance company, now was a matter of just 20 minutes. And within 20 minutes, if it was a straight-through process without too much of health questions, the sum assured is less, the policy was issued instantaneously. So that was the kind of experience that we could give out of innovation. Look at it. How many of the BFSI sector companies have got their websites in more than one language? English, everybody will provide. Yes. Nowadays, people have looked at English and Hindi and maybe at the most Marathi or one more local language. But we realized it because we represent SBI Group, a part of the SBI Group. So they have 22,700 branches ranging from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and Orissa to Kutch on the other side. So how do we ensure that every customer of the bank or who knows about SBI is in a position? So we developed a system where the entire website can be converted into 14 Indian languages at a click of a button. It is the first time in the entire BFSI sector something like this happened way back in 2017. Even today, when I look at it, I have not seen any company for more than 9 languages. The second thing innovation we looked at is, we all talk about speech to text and all that stuff. How many websites have been created for visually impaired? That's another big segment. Who buys insurance? You can't deny insurance to them. But you have to make things easier for them. So there again, we did an innovation and came out with a thing where today, if you look at the most important things on a website, those are all visually impaired enabled. So a visually impaired person can actually go and have a look at it and understand what's happening. Okay. So you look at the whole thing in the company and you will find that every place you can innovate. And as I said, innovation is a process. Okay, today you innovate, tomorrow it becomes redundant. You have to again innovate on that, again it becomes redundant. So every innovation has got its own shelf life. So how do you predetermine the shelf life? And before you reach that shelf life, how do you ensure that you come out with a newer innovation, which will either upgrade that particular product or the service or the domain or the thing itself, the system itself. And as rightly said by you, digitization is just not just giving an app in the hand of the customer. It's end to end, from the time the person enters till the product or the service is delivered and he gives a feedback. I consider that as digitization. It's not just taking a piece of some paper and okay, it was manual, now I've created into a digital platform and now I'm doing it. That I don't think is digitization. So end to end, how do you look at this entire thing, make journey simpler, create that ease for the customer, for your distributor, for your employees to execute things, and then you get the value out of it.
Right, so very well summed up. So in the panel, you also mentioned about the three things that drives innovation. And with so many trends upcoming in the insurance sector, many have termed 2022 as a revolutionary year for the sector. With so many, with embedded finance, e-commerce, and a lot of trends upcoming in the insurance, what outlook do you have? And what were the three things that you mentioned?
Three things, according to me, is crazy mind. Because for innovation, your mind has to be absolutely crazy. You have to think, people say out of the box. But what do you mean out of the box? A young boy who's just come out from management school, sitting on his table and trying to think, and he comes out with a crazy idea that this is something which can completely change my system or change a product or maybe come up with a product or a value add an existing product. That's innovation. Okay. A lot of innovations as of now happened out of per force. When I say per force, is there is a pain point in an organization. It could be in operations, it could be in sales, it could be any department of a thing. How do you make life simpler for them? And how do you use technology? How do you use upgrading the things and then making life simpler, cutting off redundancy in the system and putting it through? And the third one, according to me, is the ecosystem. You tie up with a partner. The partner says, I am fully tech-enabled. You very well get me a tech-enabled solution. Otherwise, you are not there. So you are per force required to upgrade yourself with innovative ideas of how you can integrate and give the thing. I think the most important thing for an organization on innovation is you should allow him to fail. You can encourage failure. And once you do that, I think then there is no stopping for that.
Sure, sir. So my final question to you is, what outlook do you have for the general insurance market, since it has been known that soon India will become the sixth largest general insurance market in globally. So what outlook do you have for the 2023?
According to me, it will be the sixth largest for the life insurance because today we are 10th.
Yes.
General, I think we should be in the top 10 by the time life moves into the 6th position. My view on general insurance going forward from last year has been very, very positive for two reasons. One is that because of the pandemic, though pandemic was bad, but if you look at the positive side of the pandemic from the industry point of view, people have understood the importance of insurance, especially the health side, which is the most neglected one in India. Okay. Unlike some of the countries overseas, we don't have the kind of health insurance which the state provide. Now, for the last few years, the Pradhan Mantri Ayush Bima Yojana has started, but that's only for a certain segment of people. If you look at the missing middle, the way we call it in the insurance industry, you have the whole below the bottom line or something, 30-35% people who come under this Ayushman thing. You have the top HNI, super HNI who can manage to get or who can afford to get into. But then you have a huge missing middle, which do not have access to any formal kind of, or that's not enough. For example, if you go and ask anybody, is Mediclaim enough for you, which the company is booking you? You say no. Okay. So I think medical insurance or health insurance is going to be a big thing. Along with that, you will have wellness, which is going to get coupled with it. So obviously people are now looking at remaining more fit and more fitter and trying to see how you can do that. Motor is as it is mandatory. So people will, though a lot of vehicles are not insured even as of date, and that's a worry for everybody as to how do you ensure it happening. But I generally feel that the awareness has really gone up, and this will definitely drive more and more penetration on the regulator is doing a fantastic job on the developmental side. I think full credit to the new regulator who has taken over, trying to push and trying to make things more simpler, more opened up, making people understand, making the players understand, not just the insurance companies, but everybody in this ecosystem of that, be the third party, being the reinsurers, being the service providers, whatever you may call it, trying to talk to each one of them, trying to understand their pain points and then trying to, I think that's something which is very, very positive, which will drive both the life, health and also the general insurance companies in a big way in the coming 4 to 5 years. I'm very, very optimistic on that.
So which was once vacant for more than 9 months, is now making up for the lost time, and a lot of proposals are coming in. Thank you for talking to us. Thank you so much, and please enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you very much.